So we're first going to start with 8 myths of marriage that really, in our opinion, create really unhealthy expectations coming into a relationship. And ultimately our hope here is that this will create healthier expectations for the two of you as a couple.
Myth number 1 is healthy marriages should come naturally. We wish this was true, and I think a lot of us come into marriage with that expectation, and if it doesn't turn out that way, which it won't, you feel really bad and that something is wrong in your marriage if it's not coming naturally. And so we really believe that it takes work. It takes discipline, it takes structured communication, it takes going to therapy. It takes effort to have a healthy marriage.
Myth number 2 is that I will always feel in love with my spouse. And to clarify on this, feeling is that like butterflies, that sensation, all of the almost overwhelming hype and excitement you have when you first get things going in your relationship. There's this expectation that that will continue to last throughout the entirety of your relationship. And something to keep in mind is that while that is awesome and that really commits us into a lifetime together, there is a much quieter love that ultimately does require a lot of, like Claire was saying earlier with myth number 1, of structured communication and discipline and really putting in a lot of effort to make things work. Because ultimately, if that feeling were just to last for the entirety of your relationship, you would get nothing done and just constantly be infatuated with each other. And so just keep this in mind, that feeling, while it is an awesome, awesome thing, the quieter love that you get with 50 years of marriage is way more beautiful.
Myth number 3 is that marriage cures loneliness. I think that we definitely expect that. We're with someone a lot, but this world brings on lonely feelings, whether someone is next to you all the time or not. It's just part of kind of this existential crisis, is that we do feel alone. And so I think that it's important to know that you still will feel lonely even though you do have a partner for life now. And that is not bad, and that doesn't mean something is really wrong with your relationship.
Myth number 4 is that your partner should be able to read your mind. And the reason this is one that we really wanted to hit on is because there's this expectation that as you do life together for a really long time, you'll just start being able to think to yourself, oh, my partner should have already cleaned this or done this or known I would have needed this. And it creates these really, really false expectations of just constantly having your needs met perfectly.
Myth number 5 is that marriage should be fair. I mean, I think that this is so hard for me personally all the time. If I give, I want Robbie to give equally. This is a huge myth of marriage, that marriage should be fair. Actually, we should both be trying to give 100% and not be doing 50% and hoping the other person does 50%. It won't always be fair. There will be different seasons in your life where someone is doing more house stuff or taking care of each other more. And then the season will shift and the other person will do that. So not every season is fair, and that is okay, and it's being okay with that.
Mm-hmm. So for myth number 6, it is that my spouse will complete me. And this is also something that I think Claire hinted on with the we should give 50-50 and now we make 100. And ultimately believing that your spouse will complete you takes away a lot of that personal ownership that you need to bring in a relationship. And so if we think that our spouse is going to complete us, we are going to be confused why our relationship is not curing our loneliness, why it's not fixing some of the family of origin issues we have, why it's not fixing a lot of just the issues that we face as individuals on a day-to-day basis. Myth number 7 So myth number 7 is that all conflict should be resolved in a relationship and in your marriage. And the reason that we think this is really comforting to address as a myth personally is because we have a lot of problems that just do not get resolved. Cleaning primarily. And
we keep going back to them.
Back and forth. And ultimately, the Gottman Institute reports that 66% of problems for couples are perpetual, meaning that they do not get resolved throughout the course of your relationship. By acknowledging that, this allows you to focus a lot more on your capacity to repair and rebuild your relationship, and focus a lot on other things that matter, like your friendship. Ultimately, keep this in mind, that problem that you just cannot solve, it's okay.
Myth number 8. We're here. This is the end. Is that my life will be over once I get married. I think both of us felt that way. Just always hearing of couples being like, marriage sucks. As the longer it goes down. And we have seen time and time again by other couples who are older, by our own marriage, that marriage is really fun. And it doesn't have to go downhill. And that is possible. So have hope that marriage can actually be a really fruitful, wonderful thing, and it doesn't have to get more depressing as it goes on.
Marriage doesn't suck, it rocks.
Boom.